Good morning, everybody. It's the Tuesday show. And this is IT Live, and it's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Tex Homer. That's Paul Wadlington. On Tuesday, we discuss the upcoming opponent and then quick thoughts on the previous game. Y'all need to head over to Inside Texas, and you can join for just $1 single dollar. Recruiting, team news, analysis, community, camaraderie, friendship, brotherhood.
Wow.
All of that. Yeah, I can get peace in your soul. All of that for $1. Can you believe that value? Oh no, Paul, we lost your mic, dude. This is something he's been battling with. We thought we had it solved, but the little adapter seems to be the big issue. 1 second.
All right. I wanted to respond that I would pay up to $2 for all that.
Wow. Yeah. It's that hell of a deal. All right, we got some guys that y'all are early in the chat. I'll be naming my child Ryan in honor of the demigod himself, Ryan Niblett. That's only fair. I think legally we all have to do something like that. Good morning, guys. Good morning. All right, Paul, first things first. Read your postmortems, of course, but what were your quick thoughts on the game? And then what was your thoughts on the real game that happened on Saturday for you?
Do you like my nickname for Niblett? Nuclear Niblett, the punt proliferator?
Yes, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to stick. It's really easy to remember, too. It's not wordy.
Sometimes I forget how talented I am, and then I remind myself with things like that.
Yeah. I mean, you're a writer after all, right?
I mean,
a wordsmith.
Because Joe Cook had a headline on Inside Texas of he's the cheesiest.
That's true. Well, Ryan Niblett, guys, you don't know, won the highest honor in sports. It was the Cheez-Its Cheesy Player of the Week. I don't know what it's called, but it's very prestigious. And that was the whole thing. What'd you think, man?
Hold on. Austin Dobbs wants to send me a better mic for free?
Austin Dobbs, send him a better mic, but the problem is it's not the mic, it's the connector.
Well, so here's the thing. I will keep my current mic and muddle through, and I'm going to sell the mic that you sent me for free.
Paul goes straight to the pawn shop.
And I'm going to make $60, $70.
Yep.
Boom.
There you go, baby. Business.
What did I think? Well, I wrote 2 postmortems after thoroughly watching the All-22 film, and then I wrote up about 3,500 combined words on it. Look, we were I don't know how to sum it up, man. There are 2 games that were played. There was one game where we got our ass kicked for 3 quarters. We lost 31-14.
Yep.
And then there was a quarter and an overtime where we beat the crap out of Mississippi State 24-7.
And that's the true team, by the way, Paul. The fourth quarter, that's the true team.
Add it all up, we won. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy about the win. I promised on here, 3 games ago, that we need to shift this whole notion of, I thought we were a playoff, I thought we were going to win the national title, blah, blah, blah. That's all done. Now we just need to accept the team as it is. And if that's true, any win on the road should be accepted. The players should never apologize for a win, right?
Yeah.
But we tend to kick the tires on the team. We tend to be critics, both small C and capital C. And, I saw some things that were really good, and I saw a bunch of things that were really bad. And some of those things that are bad are permanent. Some of the things that are bad are new. But I think some of them are going to persist a little bit because both OU and Texas learned that they don't have top 5 defenses last weekend, as we had possibly assumed. So the good news is that when we started blitzing, we wrecked Mississippi State. Wrecked them. Blake Shapen could not freaking throw a forward pass. So that's something that I hope as they review the film and look at our personnel, they realize, hey, against certain opponents, you don't worry about the limbs. You cut off the head of the quarterback. And let me give you a little bit of a statistic here. When blitz, Shapen was 7 of 50.
Oh no, we lost your mic again, dude. We lost your mic. Shapen was 7 of 15, guys. I bet this is gonna be a hell of a stat. I guarantee you. Let's see if we got you. Talk again.
I'm gonna go again.
All right, you should. Nope, you lost it again. He came back for a second. Let's see.
All right. So blitzed. Shapen was 7 of 15 for 55 yards. He also was pressured 12 times, sacked 5 times. That's from blitzes. Okay. When not blitzed, Shapen was 19 of 27 for 326 yards, 4 touchdowns, sacked twice. So one of those stat lines wins you the Heisman Trophy. One of those stat lines gets you benched and your fans hate you and pelt you with popcorn. Probably should have blitzed a little earlier. And the weird thing was we blitzed on their first couple of possessions and were successful. And then something happened in the late first quarter where PK just backed off. And we started doing the 4-man containment rushes that we did against Lagway, like a non-running quarterback. Shapen's 5'11". I don't know what he's listed at. He's 5'11". And he has never finished a season in college football without a season-ending injury. With that profile, and you have some initial success blitzing, I would have just blitzed his ass off. And when we decided to do that, we just smoked him. So that was both discouraging and encouraging, depending on what your takeaway is there. And then on offense, AJ Milwee went up in the booth, and 10 of our first 12 possessions were terrible. But then Arch started running around, and we went tempo, and then AJ Milwee really kicked in terms of his perspective of helping us win the game.
It does. I don't understand why coordinators are ever on the field. Like we see with just all 22 advantage. Like the coach's view, like literal sideline, and you're not in the game, right? So like 6'5" players are blocking your line of view. It's incredibly hard to see from the field. I get it when you're a head coach, but coordinators need to be in the box, man. Yeah. Or you got to have a right hand that's in the box. But it drives me nuts because it's just you can see 1,000 times better up there. You also get a better game feel, when you're like a bird. So it was interesting that he did put Milwee back in the box. I thought after, the questions about play calling and all of that, for him to say, okay, let's send Milwee up. I thought that was a positive sign, right? That's less stubbornness than I thought maybe you could face. So he's like, all right, you know what? You've been with me for 900 years. You were a coordinator. Like, let's put you up in the box. And then you got Bamonte who can do all the, hey, quarterback, do this, do that kind of thing. Better than not doing anything, I guess, is my thing.
What if they put Milwee up there and he was like, oh my God, what are we running?
Yeah. Why are we in 12 personnel? What are we doing?
Why would we run a pull protection where we pull the guard from that overloaded side of the defense and the defensive tackle just runs straight through and hits Arch in the
make
face?
Ourselves outnumbered at the point of attack?
Why did Cedric Baxter double a defensive end when there's no pass protection that we have where a running back would double a defensive end?
Yeah, that killed me with Baxter because the whole sell on Baxter is like, well, at least he can pass block, and then he just goes and blows the assignment. So, yeah, but by the end of it, it was spread, and then we tried to go 12 again at the end, and the drive stalled. And I'm like, guys, like it's not that hard, man. Like it's 11 personnel, spread it out, let Arch run around. It's really not that complicated. I know that we're trying to play 7 moves ahead in chess, but we can't execute our next move to get to the 7th move. So just let's not think ahead. Let's just play where we're at.
Let's play shoots and ladders.
Yeah, for sure. And well, it's also like, let's just be athletes, right? Who coach did that, wherever he'll talk to a staffer on the opposing side. And I can't remember who it was, but they just said straight up, they were like, Sark needs to let these guys be athletes. Like, you guys have better athletes. Why aren't you using it? And then you saw that with Wingo, just like give them a screen and let them go. Like, we complicate a lot. So, yeah, I think the big thing for me is offense is weird and it can fly to the ceiling and back down to the floor. We kind of knew that. I suspected the defense wasn't as good as last year, but I couldn't get the proof. Florida kind of showed me, and then Mississippi State, how they chose to attack. So I think now we're like 9th in FEI. So kind of out of that range, still really good, but not last year's defense. We do a couple things at a really elite level, but overall the secondary can be tested. Of course, Tapp was out as well.
Shout out to Ethan Burke. His best and most complete game is a Longhorn.
And he's done that a lot.
He does a lot of great stuff. And people, I mean, look, when it comes to edges, people are like, how many sacks do you have? Right? It's like when you're a junior in high school and you want to gauge how strong someone is. So what do you ask them?
What do they bench?
What do you bench, bro? Right? It's like, I mean,
it's one aspect.
It's one aspect. There's some other things going on.
Yeah.
But Burke was great. I mean, he just did so many good things. He blocked a field goal, had the big, final sack and strip on the last play of overtime. Did some great stuff on that 3rd and 1. He was the guy late on that key 3rd and 1 where Mississippi State tried to do a little quick pitch. He was the guy that strung that out. Just did a lot of awesome stuff. I mean, multiple big stops, pressures, just a really good, well-rounded player.
Well, PK's thing is, hey, fundamentals, and we'll drop back. Now, we'll show pressure, right? It's normally simulated, and we'll drop something out. But you got to lean into this pass rush because the coverage is not great, especially in zone. Those are really fast receivers, and that was a system that's trying to do that. So styles do make fights, but you're about to face a lot of good offenses. I think you have to leverage the defensive line and the pass rushing core and beat the passing game that way more than just our drop back and hangout style.
Speaking of the passing game, guess what coverage we saw out on the corners a couple of times that killed us?
Yeah.
My favorite.
The press, but don't.
I got to get Kelson to opine on this because there's something I must be missing. So when you're a corner, I like when you press and actually put your hands on someone. I like when you show press and then bail right before the snap, right? I like when you play off and then you read the route and you go attack the route, right? I don't like where you show press, don't put your hands on the guy, you've given up all of your cushion, and then the guy runs past you, which is what Brendan Thompson did to Manny Muhammad for a touchdown where Thompson never even got up to 3/4 speed.
Yeah.
And as Shapen got to the line of scrimmage, he basically just looked over and was like, touchdown. And
yeah.
I mean, the game situation was they're on R23, about 40 seconds left in the first half. It's 17-14. You're trying to keep them to a field goal, or you're going to bring a pressure and try to get them out of field goal range, right? What you can't do is go down double-digit score right before half. And I hate that freaking coverage. Jelani McDonald, on top of that, didn't have enough depth to even help over the top.
I was going to say, it was like he was playing that cover 3 down safety,
Yes.
and so he got caught really quick and had to try to work back. So, yeah, it was funny because all the fans on Twitter, I know you're not on it, but all of them were like, why are we playing off? They're curling us to death. And I'm like, you're going to see why you don't want to play on versus these guys, especially with the technique that we do. And then as soon as we press up on them, touchdown.
But he wasn't pressing.
Right. He was standing close. He was
standing near.
Yeah.
If you're going to press, put your hands on the guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it defeats the whole purpose for me. And Brendan Thompson's, like I said, has turned into an actual receiver. So he can make a move off the line. I prefer to play off just so you can read the route. I mean, at that point, it solves that issue, Well,
and also off coverage doesn't mean you have to additionally backpedal.
Correct.
You can kind of hang out for a second and see stuff materialize, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because Jahdae Barron was a guy that you could call anything and he would just make it work, right?
Yeah.
But most mortal football players need a pretty decent call to help them. So it's a bummer.
Yeah, Drew and Jed have pointed out on multiple film studies that will show blitz.
Yes.
And then
we're not good at this, guys.
Bilbo will be hanging out in zone, and it's just like,
Bilbo does this. He's like, I'm in zone, and everyone else is like, I'm in man. I'm tricking you. And it's like, no, we see that guy.
Yeah. But to me, it's like you've really got to lean into the pass rush because we're not just going to be able to clamp guys like last year.
Well, dude, how many defensive coordinators would kill to have Anthony Hill blitzing with Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke, Zena, Lance Jackson, those kind of guys coming off the edge? And then inside, Hero Kanu is a very good pass rusher. Our other defensive tackles, they're okay. But Hero Kanu freaking brings it. I love that guy. Did you see the play
where he took out 2 guys?
He took out the running back in the RPO, discarded him, and then went and sacked Shapen. It was amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's been a great addition. And he's in the press conferences and stuff like that. He's a smart player too. He's not as German as I would have liked because I told you he has a very thin accent, but I told you it would be far more jarring for him to hit a running back and then just speak in a strong German accent and just confuse the running back.
I was hoping he would have a little monocle and like a Prussian dueling scar. And then he's walking towards you in his immaculate uniform. And he's like, papers, please.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to do from what's the movie?
Why are you in Berlin?
He's yeah, I think it's a missed opportunity. I would play up the accent just for the psychological factor after I hit somebody. All right. We got to talk Vanderbilt. But before we do something that wild, Paul, Academy Sports and Outdoors proudly honors our brave military and first responders for everything you do to protect our nation and serve our local communities. We appreciate your unmatched dedication and countless sacrifices. And from October 19th through November 11th, Academy is giving you a salute with 10% off your sports and outdoors purchases at your local Academy store and online at academy.com/discount. Exclusions do apply. All right, baby. Let's get it. All right, let's pull up the stats.
Let's do it. Hans Landa on the football field.
All right, guys. These are the Commodores. Paul, do you know what the line's at right now? I know it's been tight.
It's 1.5, and I went to bed.
Okay. Right before you go to bed, you're just, well, let's go. 1.5, and it's been moving a little bit, especially with Arch potentially getting out. I did get the ad right this time. Yes, I did not get it right yet. I got it right yesterday. I just had to give you 2 because I misread the first one, but we correct our mistakes around here. We got to be coachable.
It is currently Vanderbilt plus 1.5.
Okay. Why the hell are we favored? This is a weird one, and I want to talk to Paul about it because there's like moment when you watch like Missouri, you're like, okay, I can see what's happening here. And if you look kind of at their schedule, so Charleston Southern 3-6, Virginia Tech 3-5, South Carolina 3-5, Georgia State 1-7, Utah State 4-4, Alabama 7-1, but that's a loss. LSU 5-3, win but fired coach, and then Missouri legit at 6-2. So there's some argument here for like the level of competition faced, and the ELS says they have the 35th schedule, so there's some wiggle room there. But I'm more interested to hear what Paul thinks as we go through these here numbers. What sticks out to me immediately, Paul, is they're 133rd in the country in plays per game and 131st in seconds per play. They're incredibly slow moving, but they're 9th in points per game. Yep. So that level of efficiency is remarkable. And that's that. When I think of Vandy, it's that first off the bat.
So I'm going to do my mini jag on this because people really struggled with this in the old days of the Big 12 and spread offenses and hurry up. They would see a hurry up offense that ran 85 plays a game, and their defense would give up 19 points a game. And they'd be like, their defense is kind of mid. It's like their defense defends 18 possessions a game. They're actually playing really well.
Yeah.
And so pace is a huge part of this. Don't look at points per game. Look at their efficiency per drive. So their offense is much better than you think. Their defense is much worse than you think.
I agree. And if you look, great point. Their offensive points per drive is second. So they stalled out versus Missouri. That was a very weird game.
That was their really disappointing, bad offensive performance. And I have not had the opportunity to watch the All-22 on that yet, but I'm looking forward to it because I suspect Missouri ran the last year's South Carolina game plan against them. And
I didn't watch South Carolina, so I don't know what that game plan is.
If you have really good edges and you play your corners well and you kind of have some eye discipline with your safeties and linebackers, you can really shut down their run game and then turn Pavia into a passer out of the spread on predictable down and distance. And he really struggles in that regard.
Yeah, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like to sit in the pocket. And so they covered their receivers really well, but also what they did well is Pavia is going to bail the pocket when you do that. He's not like just going to sit there and really read downfield. Like all of his deep stuff is like Shapen with Thompson. He's going to look pre-snap and he's going to throw the fade. So they do try that, but none of it is like full field reads. And normally if it is, it'll turn into some little check down. But he likes to bail out. And what Missouri would do is just match him laterally with their athletes. And that's where he gets you, is when he rolls out. So they would just cover and then they would follow him, and he didn't do much. He was more responsible. He would throw it out of bounds. He would do like the right things there, which I was impressed with because I thought as a player that confident that he would try to push a lot. But I thought that was successful versus – and I watched that game first, so I got like a misrepresented view of Vandy. I was like, oh, this is going to be light work. But that game, not the best first one to watch.
Well, and also Pavia, the assumptive type, because he does do crazy stuff and he extends plays. You would think, oh, this guy's feast or famine. He actually takes really good care of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He is. I love Pavia. I think he's a great player. People despise him. I know. He's kind of the classic. If he's on your team, you'd love him. But I think part of the reason they despise him is that level of self-belief, which is what has allowed him to become.
I was going to say, without that, his life doesn't look like this. Like, he needed the irrational confidence. It's not even irrational anymore.
Well, and also people are very hierarchical and they don't like the idea, even if they're like, oh, what a fun little underdog story. It's not such a fun underdog story when Vanderbilt's upsetting you.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've totally changed. Last year was like, man, this is very cute. Like, good for Vanderbilt. This is not what that is this year. Like, they're a legitimate team, both sides of the ball legitimate. And so I don't have the same like, oh, how look at Vandy, you know,
right.
It's a very different thing. But their efficiency is really important, and their yards per play is sixth. Like we said, they're second in offensive points per drive. They're eighth in overall offensive success rate, 27th overall in explosivity. And like Paul said, they take care of the ball, seventh in havoc rate. So it's just really a really, really sound offense that's a mix of their really fun scheme. One play, they're an empty. The next, it looks like it's the 1940s. They have a really just fun offense, and they're a well-called offense paired with Pavia's personality taking over the team. Those guys play really hard, and same as last year, they talk a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You'll see, but like after every snap, they're just coming up and making little comments, you know, and they did that all last year. You have to stay emotionally regulated versus these guys because they're using that as a tool of war. As well after the play, just kind of talking a little, especially those DBs. We'll talk about that. They, after every play, they didn't even make the play. The quarterback just threw a bad ball and they're just right up to the receiver. They're saying something, and I'm sure it's not like great rep, dude. So, this is just a really solid offense. They're incredibly slow in plotting, but they execute that slow style. That's the first thing you have to know. So the defense has to be aware. They shouldn't get tired out with the amount of plays, but man, there's so many times like pre-snap where I'm like, the ball should go here, and it just does. Like, they just see the field remarkably well. They also make the spots where the ball is supposed to go through all their strange formations and personnel groupings. All right, so this is the rushing game. They are 18th in success rate here. They've been really good. They're 11th in explosivity. If you see the Missouri game, you know, the game's close, and then they just take off down the perimeter, by the way, which we haven't been good at defending. So we got to be aware of that. Yards per rush, third in the country, man.
6.3?
Yeah, 6.3 yards per rush.
You know, we're like 3.7 or something, right? 3.8.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tremendous.
And they're able to do it with a mix of different backs, Pavia, and then through all these different formations. And
Patrick Alexander's good.
Yeah. So they've been really, really good rushing team, and they just move forward, and they just, because of that, are able to stay in really advantageous situations where they can get up to their trickery. Because, you know, misdirection's a fundamental part. You know, they'll fake this way and then they'll toss out to the back. They do a lot of stuff to test your eye discipline, and they do a lot of smart stuff from, you know, having lower talent when they develop the scheme to not let better athletes know exactly where the ball is going and trigger, because they'll lose that most of the time. Maybe not this year, but when they built the scheme up. Offensive line, I'm sure Paul would like to talk about their offensive line and their unique moving of guards and tackles, but they're 22nd in offensive line yards, and they are 11th in rushing power success rate. So got to have it, all that fourth downs and stuff, 43rd in stuff rate. So it's a really, really effective running game for them.
Yeah, so they have a strong side and weak side. Mm-hmm. Offensive line. This is like old. This is pre your high school experience, Connor.
Oh yeah, we never did it. We were spread by the time I was in high school.
Yeah, so I saw a run and shoot offense in high school, and I thought it was like seeing a giraffe on the field. Right?
Whoa, I heard
I
about
remember when we played Westlake and they sent their running back in motion out of the backfield into like trips. And we
That's
were
illegal.
like, illegal? What are they doing?
Yeah.
But they have a strong side and weak side. So they have a guard and tackle that travel with the tight end, and they line them up on the left or the right, and depending on the play strength. And so they've identified, hey, we don't care. We've got a couple of guys that we feel like are better run blockers at the point of attack, and then we've got backside guys who we think are better at pulling. And we don't care. And if people want to attack that as a tendency, Vanderbilt offense is nothing but counter punches and things built in to punish when you try to overplay something. So I think it's funny. It's old fashioned. I think they're the only team in college football that does that. And
it's novel now.
People were talking about it on game day. Like, this is a great innovation. Like, someone came out on the wing tee and it's like, I can show you some film from the 1930s that this has been around for.
Well, that's the new thing, right? Is retro innovation.
Yes.
So like all these teams, even the NFL, they're going back and pulling like these fundamental core concepts from like the start of football, and it's working because everyone got so skinny and pass oriented. Now everyone's switching back to the old school run fundamentals. And so, yeah, people are retro innovating. They're pulling things from 40, 50 years of football, not even longer than that. So it's definitely interesting, but you hear Pavia all the time. You're like, oh, it's the pass game. It's the pass game. It's the run game. That's the backbone of this offense. Tons of different schemes. Of course, you can defend the triple option reads with Pavia pulling, but they will send Pavia right up the gut on midlines. They have several different backs that they utilize. I mean, it's tough, man. Like you have to, and like Paul said, as soon as you try to solve for something else, they're like, that's exactly what we wanted you to do. That opens up this play. They have answers for a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, they're combining weird combinations of circa 90s veer, like old Tom Osborne, Nebraska stuff, with midline option. For those of you who don't know, you can option any player on the football field, not just defensive ends. They'll option your defensive tackle. Like they do all sorts of crazy stuff. And then the next play, they'll be running like a classic little spread screen to one side of the field. But instead of throwing the screen, Pavia keeps it and wheels and goes and runs a bootleg on the opposite side. I mean, it's just wide open. I think Tim Beck, not that Tim Beck, another Tim Beck. I think he's a really good OC. Mm-hmm. I'm really curious to see what he and Vandy are without Diego Pavia, because I think he's a singular player. And the cool thing about him is he doesn't scale to professional football. He's a college player, but within the college environment, he's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And culturally, what do you do without Pavia, right? Like having that as your leader does something. You can see it on the field. It does something for their team. They've all taken on that kind of cocky, trash talk vibe. Pass game, they are 4th in success rate. They do a lot of short stuff. The whole point is to stay in manageable downs so everything is open. They're not very explosive. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't take their shots. They do. And you'll see it, but it's normally in the form of you've manned up the outside receiver. I think it's Trey Richardson, really fast. Junior Sherrill is their key playmaker. So if they catch you one-on-one on the outside, it's auto fade. They're not going to complete it at a high rate because auto fades are not a high rate completion. So the passing explosivity, that's not a huge feature of hitting you over the top, but it doesn't mean they don't throw it, and they won't. And they almost punish you schematically just to be like, get back. We want the underneath because we want to be successful. It doesn't even have to complete. They're just trying to get you off of them. Team completion percentage, 31st. Yards per pass, 32nd. And then important QB sack percentage at 17th. Only 3% of those dropbacks result in a sack. And then O-line pass blocking efficiency, slightly above average at 60th. So run game is the dominant thing, but they will hit you. And then, of course, they've got a player like Stowers, who versus Missouri, could not stay up. Either Pavia would throw him a bad ball and he'd have to dive, but he had trouble just staying upright. But, he's a top 3 tight end in college football. Unfortunately, he's a Denton Geyer guy, so our crosstown rivals. But shout out to him. He's a real player now. Junior Sherrill, big playmaker. Trey Richardson, very, very fast. And then Hoskins or Haskins in the slot for them. So they have some guys that have made plays, but most importantly, the scheme will help the most with their pass game.
They're also a very interesting triumph of scheme and sort of judicious portal use because they replaced a bunch of guys in the portal. Their offensive line is largely rebuilt, and it's a bunch of 23, 24-year-old guys who've just played a ton of football, and they're super physical. They're not very athletic.
Yeah.
So you can beat them. You can, if you bring your speed and athleticism to bear on them, they'll struggle, but they're very, very physical. They have an identity, and Vanderbilt is great at giving them an angle advantage. You know, they're great at just scheming up ways to get these guys an advantage on your defender from the initial snap. And those guys play to the end of the whistle, but it is a really interesting example of how you can construct useful O-line play out of scheme, the correct identification, the correct development. It's sort of the anti-Texas, to be honest. You
didn't have to hit it that on the nose. Well, I think we could have got the subtle nature of that, but no, 100%.
I instead of delivering that with a light little framing hammer tap, I decided to get a sledgehammer and do Tom Herman on the wall.
Their overall offensive efficiency is 10th. It was higher than that, but Missouri brought that down. They didn't have a good game. It was 17-10. So they're 10th. Texas is also dropping. We are 9th. So technical advantage there, but so slight. It's not meaningful. So this is where, I'll hear things like, Vandy's beatable, and they are. Everybody's beatable. But this is where it shows how well coached the scheme is and the players are on offense. It's just their situational stuff that they do really, really well in. So in standard downs rate, advantageous positions where the whole playbook is open. And that's how Vanderbilt kills you. They need the whole playbook, and they use the whole damn playbook. But 14th in standard downs rate, success rate in standard downs 20th. The inverse of that is going to be a 14 down passing rate, so they're not stuck super bad behind the sticks. And then passing down.
This is the alarming stat.
The passing down success rate?
Yes.
Yeah. So when they are in passing downs, they're first in the country, and that is a sign of schematics. That is really well called stuff.
Because the cliche is, hey, get Vanderbilt behind the chains. They'll become a very limited offense. Now it's just Pavia trying to be a traditional thrower. Apparently not.
Yeah, they're passing. That's the thing is, like, they do need, for down to down, they do need their whole playbook. But the scheme is so good, they have passing concepts that'll get you. And they have, like, Stowers, right? Like, if you're one-on-one, he's going to jump up and get it. Early downs EPA, they're 4th in the country. On third downs, they're 8th in the country. Average third down distance, 42nd, above average. Fourth down, they're about mid-tier. In the red zone, if you add field goals and touchdowns, they're 48th. But if you just look at touchdowns in the red zone, they're 6th in the country. So they've been pretty effective there at actually scoring when they get down there. That's the scheme I'm talking about. Yep. 12 sacks allowed, but they are 77th in interceptions thrown per game, which is weird. But whatever. It's still under 1 a game is what they're averaging. Fumbles per game, they're 5th. They don't allow a lot of tackles for loss, 4th. And then a big factor, too, is their offensive returning production this year was 7th in the country. So they got a lot of guys back that are around 45 years old. So overall, the offense is really talented for them, or is really schemed well, and they do have some talent. And the talent doesn't always have to be in the form of pure athleticism. It could be some type of intangible talent that they offer. But Missouri was a tough game for them. The Texas defense has their hands full because it's all about eye discipline, and then they're trying to lead you into traps. What do you think the real keys here on defense are, Paul, for us?
We got to bring our athleticism to bear. I mean, we are more athletic than they are. And if you stand there sort of frozen, constantly worried about all their puppetry and all their little pyrotechnics, you got to boil down some of the core concepts of that offense to its essence. And here is where I do like what PK does, which is PK teaches you how to play your position. So if you're an edge and you're playing contain, it doesn't really matter what all the bullshit going on in the backfield is. Play the edge, contain. If you're a defensive tackle and you're two-gapping, you don't get to go sprint upfield because you felt like it. Two-gap, stand there, stand that guy up, lock him out, and protect both gaps. Linebacker, you're not supposed to be watching the backfield. You're supposed to be watching your keys. Either you're supposed to fill a gap, right? Or you're supposed to be looking at the blocking and trying to take your read off that before your eyes get to the next level of seeing what the ball action is. So you got to do all that kind of stuff. I actually believe on passing downs, blitz to contain is the best way to keep Pavia controlled. I see teams will try to bring 3 and like drop 8 or something.
He's going to bail.
He bails, he buys time, and he either runs for 11 yards or he finds a little hole in your zone and flips it to a guy for 12.
So he has no respect for man coverage on crossers, meaning that your guy can be on his guy, and technically you shouldn't throw it. He does not care. He's going to place the ball in the perfect spot. So don't think that you X'd a guy out because you're standing next to him, especially on crossers. He will throw it, and they do complete it.
Yeah,
that's a big thing too.
Yeah, I think their offense is good, but you can't get so – I think almost the worst thing you can do as a defensive coordinator is show your guys all of their crazy stuff and say, you gotta be looking for this, and you gotta look for, and also they can jet sweep back this the other way. So it's like, whoa, play your position.
Yeah, you'll freak them out.
We've taught you the fundamentals of football. We're going to show you some of the things that they do because I want you to see what that looks like, right? So you're not chasing ghosts. But hey, your backside contain, Lance. So contain the backside. Before you take off running, realize that Pavia does his little wheel thing where he'll be running one way and he'll just go and then take off the other direction. Just be like, hey man, you can hang out. We're confident in your teammates' play side that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. I'm going to cliche warning, just do your job. We've taught you how to play your position. We're not just running a bunch of looks. I mean, if Todd Orlando was our defensive coordinator, they would score 49 points on us on Saturday because he'd be trying to like call match and like have the correct play called to match their play, and they would just kill us, right? But I think one good thing about PK is he does have that sense of, hey, if I just kind of teach you your position, the total construct of the defense isn't just going to fall apart against a team like this. Now, if they were running – now, what would be an interesting wrinkle for Vandy is what if they decide to go pace? That would be interesting, right?
Yeah, I just wonder if they can execute what they're trying to execute at pace.
Maybe not, and maybe that's why they never do it. But if I were diagnosing Texas, I would say historically PK has some struggles with tempo and getting his right call in and stuff like that. Or substitution patterns, right? So, yeah, I hate to be Mr. Cliche, but we've just got to play fundamental ball. And don't be scared to let your better athletes attack Vandy's athletes because part of their success is their ability to paralyze you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is what I think is an important matchup, Texas defense versus their offense. Is Texas does still have the advantage in defensive line yards versus their 22nd rank. And then they're really good in rushing power success rate, but Texas is first in the country here on 3rd and short and 4th and short in the run.
Yeah, we show that every week.
Yeah, and so that's to me is a huge matchup because if they're not able to get that, now I'm sure they'll go for 4th, right? And so you got to do it again. But that to me is going to be an important part because they're going to want to be in those 3rd and shorts. And if you can stop those 3rd and shorts, now, of course, I hope – and I probably think they're more reasonable than the previous teams. Like I said, this scheme was kind of built as an underdog and kind of conceding the reality of not having that athlete advantage. So I don't know if they go with the Kentucky, we're going to try to run it regardless thing. They're probably going to show you that, and then Pavia is going to do something weird. But we'll see if they play ego ball. It's just not a profitable venture versus this Texas defense as we've seen for years now.
Woodcrest is asking in the chat, how is Kirby able to get the right call in versus tempo teams? He's often not.
He's
not
Kirby's really bad about it.
By tempo, specifically Tennessee, he usually adjusts at halftime, and then things get a lot better. He'll distill things down to like 1 or 2 calls, or like, hey, here's our base call. So even if I don't get my call in, here's what we're running. And then some of it's your defense needs to get used to that feeling of being hurried, because the truth is there's like 2 or 3 brains on most defenses, and they're the ones like moving guys and telling guys what to do. And we're down one of our big brains. So do we have any idea when Taft comes back?
No. See what Justin knows about it. I know that it was Georgia's the target date, and then a couple weeks ago it was like maybe Vandy, but nothing's come out. I would assume that because are we bye week after Vandy, right?
I think so.
I think we're bye week after Vandy, so you could steal an extra week of recovery there. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat. Are we bye week? Yes, we are. And that also is going to allow Arch, who's likely going to be out, right, to get extra recovery from the concussion and all of that. So this week, I don't think you rush anyone back. I think they're going to try to give you the extra time, but I'm not reporting that because I'm not a reporter. So we'll just have to see. All right, Paul.
Speaking of that, before we go on the offensive with our potential quarterback, Matthew Caldwell, there's a guy you've got to go on the offensive with, and this is the guy you want in your corner. We talked about Germans. We're going to blitzkrieg through the mortgage markets with Gabe Winslow, 832-557-1095. Gabe's got over 20 years in the industry. He's fantastic at what he does. Go read his Google reviews. It's just endless paragraph after paragraph of raves about how Gabe solved a problem or made someone's dream come true in terms of their dream home. This guy's really sharp, got a law degree from a top 20 law school. He's a former National Merit Scholar. Of course, he's a proud Texas grad. He's as excited as all of us to face the Vandy threat and extinguish this upstart. Give Gabe a call. He's the guy you want in your corner, whether you're going to refi, which you should be doing right now if you've got a mortgage rate over 6.5, or if you're buying a new house. 832-557-1095.
Defense.
The defense.
All right. You're doing your canoe accent?
Yes.
All right. This is, I should have changed that from Mississippi State, but it's Vandy. And this is going to be their defense. So, we hear their defense is much improved. It is, but there's still some things that you can exploit. But who knows with this offense ever? And also Caldwell's likely playing. So projecting here is going to be tricky, but I will show you what they've done historically. All right. So they are 26 in points per game. They are 50th in yards per play. So these are all above average, but they're not elite, right?
Pace.
Yep. And then 50th in points per drive, same thing. 54th in success rate. So still above average, but not elite. And then defensive explosiveness, they're 80th. So you can hit him on some stuff, which is interesting because remember the whole thing last year was kind of they would hang back. But then they started playing. They played cover 3 against us, and they totally shut us down. Remember that was the Quinn Screen Fest, where everything
nickel on every play.
They blitzed the nickel on every play because first off, Sark was playing all these condensed formations, and so you're bringing guys near the box that can auto blitz with ease. But also, if you auto blitz the nickel, it stops your rollouts. So it forces you can't turn back and try to work to another side. And, Arch is likely not playing, but that's something Arch does. And so you would blitz that, and you would force the quarterback to stay in the pocket. And with our offensive line, forcing Arch to stay in the pocket would not be ideal, but especially it wasn't ideal for Quinn. So they were basically saying, Quinn, stay in the pocket because we don't trust your pocket presence, and you're going to have to try to throw from there. And it just turned into Quinn turning we had so many open stuff downfield versus Vanderbilt, even when they're cover 3, and Quinn just wasn't having any of it. It was all screens that game. But I thought they had the strongest game plan versus us that we had seen up until that season. Do they run the same thing? I don't know. But they schemed us up pretty good last year.
I thought three defenses had really good schemes for us. Georgia, Vanderbilt, and Arizona State.
Yeah.
And then Ohio State was well schemed, but just also really good. So
Yeah.
That's part of it.
All right. They have some decent havoc, but their havoc's coming from the front seven, 16th in defensive havoc total, and not a ton of havoc from the DBs. But the DBs, their havoc is psychological. They are going to be chirping on every play. So just be aware of that with our younger wide receivers. Don't take the bait. They're going to mess with you every single down. Rushing defense. I was surprised when I saw this. They are 34th in explosivity, 36 in yards per rush. This is one you would traditionally think with a not historically talented team that it would normally be. It's easier to get better DBs than it is D-line in that world. But they've been solid on defensive rushing as well. And if you look at let's look at the other side of the tail here, Paul. This is our rushing. Everything is red. We are 105th in rushing explosivity. We're 80th in yards per rush. We're 78th in rushing success rate. So we're just a garbage rushing offense versus a above average. Sure.
We got Baxter back.
Oh yeah, great point. That'll solve it. So if any game plan comes, now fans will be like, look, you just got to go in there and run the ball. It's like, okay, what are we saying? Like, you can attempt it, but it's not going to work. And then it's going to pop up again. We're going to go for 150 versus a team. Wow, we can run, and then it'll disappear again. So I don't know what dude, with Sarkisian's game plan, it's like, all right, so you're telling me we can't pass block, play 12 personnel or run. So we're just going to have to be 11 personnel spread. We don't have a ton of quick game, so we need to throw deep, but we can't pass protect. I mean, it's really tough to thread the needle with this offense, especially if Caldwell's quarterback, right?
We don't know. We don't know what Caldwell is. We've got some Texas fans suspecting he's a secretly Tom Brady. And then
I like Caldwell. I thought he's played well. I'm not going to go on the media and be like, I'm expecting this for Caldwell because it's just, it's unfair. So
we don't know anything about him. And, this happens all the time, right? You get glimpses of someone and then you're like, if you expanded his stats out to 4 quarters, he would have thrown for 378 yards and rushed for 121. And it's like, well, it doesn't work that way. And, there's some guy in the NBA who's like a 6-man every year that someone trades for. And they're like, if you project his numbers out to a full game, and then his numbers don't project out to a full game. So
yeah, the limited time is a feature of the efficacy.
But we will see. I mean, this is how legends are born, man. Maybe he freaking balls out. That would be so fun.
Oh, it'd be absolutely incredible. And then the ensuing week of is he the true starter? It will be even more fun, dude.
Absolutely.
Texas fans and quarterbacks, it never fails, dude.
One thing I do think that I have heard, as much as I trust practice reports, apparently he's pretty proficient in the RPO game.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be something we lean into that we haven't really shown a lot of. And I think it might catch Vanderbilt a little off balance. If we just come out, we're RPOing it, 8 out of the first 10 plays. That would be interesting.
Quarterback run's going to have to be a big feature, but also he's your only quarterback. Well, he's your only quarterback, right? So do you risk hurting him? And then we know he has mobility, like running mobility, but does that mobility translate to an offensive line that lets 7 guys try to hit you at once? That's a big thing. And so pocket mobile and running mobile are different things. So we have to see that. He had some interception issues last year. I said on the board that's before his transformation into Matty Ice. So that's right. His old self. But we have to see about that. But he's clearly confident in himself. And then everything I've heard, the players really like him and respect him. So it's not like a timid QB2 coming in. They're like, all right, let's ride type of thing. So, but we just got to see it. We just don't know that variable. And even with Arch playing, we don't know that variable. So it's a tricky team, but also shout out Arch for that performance last game. That was sick. Defensive line yards, 11th. This is where you can get them. Rushing power success rate on short downs. But guess what? Texas is 97th on offense and rushing power success rate. So you could have got them. You were so close. You could have got them. You're still worse somehow. And then stuff rate, they're 41st, so they'll stop you. And Texas is 116th at getting stuffed in the run game. So, look, man, if the run game shows up, great. It's one of the Christmas run games we get every year. But trying to project that, and the numbers say it's a clear loss here as well. Pass game. This where you would have some advantage with Arch for sure. We'll see about Caldwell. He can hit a red zone fade though. They're 87, so you can catch them in the pass game. That would be an important key for us. And they're down to downs okay. They're 61st in success rate, opponent yards per pass, that kind of stuff. But they are 39th in sacks, Paul, as well. And if you saw, they show a lot of pressure. They don't always send it, but they blitz. They show a lot. I think it was like 44% versus Missouri where they actually sent it, but they probably showed it 65%. So they'll bring guys up on the line and then they'll drop them back pretty often. And it's generally pretty easy to tell. Players, when they're fake blitzing, are so performative. If you see real blitzers, you'll see that, like, because they really need their stance, because they're actually going to have to fire off. They're not moving their feet a bunch. They're like a sprinter. And so they're more still. But whenever they're doing all this stuff and moving around and stuff like that, it's like he's going to drop. And that's the case a lot. That's the case across college football. It's like poker. When the guy is talking a lot, you're like, you don't got it. You're trying to add something here. You're trying to create performance. But the guy that just like suddenly gets quiet when he's dealt his hand, that's the guy that you need to be like, something's going on here. It's the
Keep
same thing.
Water.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same concept because human beings are human beings. But try to hit them deep, man. And Matty Ice says, no problem, baby. We're going to throw it up and hit them on screens too, man, because they're pretty sound, but it doesn't matter. Wingo can beat guys, whoever it is. But the sack rate is nervous. And even if their sack rate was last in the country, it doesn't matter. Every team has outperformed their sack rate against us.
Jeez.
Overall, they're the 40th ranked defense.
It's a lot of black.
Yeah, it's all – yeah.
Force awards.
Yeah, it is. Great joke. So this is – and they have some mismatches here too, but they're solid situationally because look at this. We're so bad. All right, so their standard downs rate is really good at 19th, so they're putting teams in passing downs. Texas already is 111th in being in proper situations. So, yeah, we know what's up there. Early downs EPA, pretty good at 41st. Texas is 92nd in offense on early downs EPA, meaning that we're in perpetual third downs and making Arch have to make difficult plays, which sometimes he does, God bless him. But, man, we are constantly in bad situations. They're 12th in average third down distance. Teams are averaging 7.88 yards. Texas is on offense 121st in average third downs. So not only are we in third downs a lot, we're in super long third downs a lot. Some would say that's a play calling issue. Anyways, fourth down, you can get them. Hopefully we go for it occasionally, but we'll see. They're 58th in the red zone, so a little bit above average. Texas doesn't matter, though. Still worse in red zone for offense. This is the well-coached part of Vanderbilt that you see.
Hey, I've got a question for you. I like to think outside the box. I'm a creative, Connor.
Sure.
I'm not a company man like you.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I've heard about them.
You're a suit.
Yeah.
In my lexicon. Ryan Niblett, you line him up 30 yards behind center. Mm-hmm. You shotgun snap it. Mm-hmm. And then
now it's a punt return.
Now it's a punt return.
And his mind will switch. Yeah.
And now we're making the wall.
Yeah.
We've got Marshall Landwehr playing X. We've got Jordan Johnson-Rubel. We've got all that group that's been creating that wall. And now we're getting, what are we averaging? 25, 30 yards a rush?
I don't track it, but it's probably a million.
I guess one of my issues is that I'm too advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look up punt return stats, which is a high level.
He averages 25.5 yards per punt return.
Yeah, good for you, man. Look, there's a special teams hole in my game. I'll give it to you.
If you suits would get off the creatives, it would be a beautiful world, man.
Yeah. Let the creatives look up stats, which is what creatives are known for doing. They love stats.
Oh, Connor, your
I'll
little
learn one
small
day.
world, your company world,
Yeah.
hammering that paycheck,
Yep. Just another day at the video mines.
going home to your Barca lounger, kicking
Yeah.
up your
Or
feet,
not just staying home. Just staying home at my Barca
staying in
lounge.
your office.
Yeah. I just go to the living room. It's pretty nice.
Just that's a wheelchair. You just wheel to the office.
Yeah. It's a mobile chair. I can just take it around the house. All right.
Oh, Kelson Kelson is on my wavelength. Kelson's a fellow creative. He can operate in the corporate world, but he's really a creative at heart.
Hmm.
Niblett still has the option to throw a forward pass from that formation. Can you imagine the conflict?
Yeah.
You're not imagining.
He's running right at you, dude.
And I just watched you. You didn't imagine any of it.
No, I did. I saw it, dude.
Oh,
I saw
okay,
the whole thing.
okay.
He
I
was
misread you. I'm sorry.
running. He was running and then he threw it.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. And we should definitely add that to our bag. We've done really awesome trick plays this year that have worked really great. So I'm looking forward to that. But Vanderbilt just overall just better coached on defense. Even where they're not great, they're better. Sacks per game, 29th. Pay attention. Not getting a ton of interceptions. We saw that in their low havoc rate. So hopefully not a lot of picks, which is good, right? If Caldwell is interception prone, you would hope this is be a good secondary that wouldn't capitalize on it. Famous last words, right?
Yep.
And then D returning production for them was third in the country. So they had 2 top 10 returning productions and older guys, and just very sober analysis on who to bring in. So they just have the advantage, even though their defense is not elite, it's still way better than the Texas offense. Penalties per game. This is the most interesting part. So they're well coached in every aspect, but they're sloppy on penalties. And you'll see it a lot in Missouri. It's because they are chippy.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it aggression penalties or is it
yes?
like
So there's a pregame with Clark Lee, and he'll say the first part of the sentence, and the team has to say it back. And he said he was like, to the edge, and then they had to say, but not over it. And so it was to the edge, but not over it. And so he's clearly telling him, he's like, look, I want you to play right at that line. They go over the edge all the time. A big problem, too, is like holds on offensive line because of Pavia's play style. He will run out of the pocket, which is brutal on offensive linemen because you destroy their leverage. It's really not on the lineman at that point. And so he runs out of the pocket, but then he'll run out of the pocket and then he'll reverse directions. So they give a ton of holds, and it's not on the offensive line. It's because of Pavia's play style. 100%. But they are aggressive on defense. Like I said, they're always talking noise. They come up and bump you after every play. They're a little over the top there, and it does result in a lot of penalties. The only part of this team that is not well coached is that.
Huh. Interesting.
Texas gets more, though, at 124th in the country. So we'll see. The difference here is Texas's luck ratings going up a little bit. That's good, 63rd, but they're 14th in luck. So the fumbles do tend to bounce their way. And you also just kind of find out that good teams' luck ratings are higher. It's the make your own luck cliche. And so there's something about good teams are generally putting themselves in better positions and cultivating luck more likely, and bad teams are not cultivating luck towards them.
Well, you told me like many times, if you fall in a puddle, check your pocket for a fish.
Yeah, I always say strange things like that.
Yeah,
it's but that they do find there's fish in their pockets, Paul.
Yeah,
you got to watch. Net field position, 14th in the country, pretty good. This is where Texas has been awesome, 3rd in the country, putting the offense in incredible situations all the time. Man, if some of these stats that we have, like special teams and net field position and a pretty good defense, not elite, if the offense was just middle of the road, this Texas team would be scary. But that's not the reality. Team talent ranking, 72nd in the country. Texas, number 1. So as Paul always says, that's all that matters. But you can see the level of talent on that roster is 72nd in the country. So it's a really remarkable scheme and coaching job. 21st in special teams versus Texas 3rd in special teams, with Niblett doing a lot of heavy lifting there. They played the 35th hardest schedule. Texas has played the 13th.
Kelson says we found our offense last week.
We found it several times, and we don't do anything about it. So it's like
Steve Sarkisian's like, man, I can't find my keys. And you start looking around the house, and you're like, hey, I got your keys. He's like, those aren't my keys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey man, these are your keys. Like look, I'll click it. It starts your Land Rover. No, those aren't my keys. We got to keep
Yeah.
looking. All right.
Man, Millie, we need you up there in the box, dude. We need you in the box, brother. It's 11 personnel. Enough with the 12 personnel. It doesn't work.
Hey, here's the deal. I tolerated all your dork spreadsheet nerd statistics stuff.
And I appreciate that, Paul. I thank you.
All meaningless. Here's what real ballers know.
Yeah.
Here's what former honorable mention all district players know, Connor.
Cool.
The team that wants it more is going to win this game.
That's so true. When you think about it, that's so true.
If we don't want it, we're not going to win. But if we want it, probably win.
Yeah. And we're going to see that level of incredible analysis on every pregame show, national media. It'll be that Pavia's personality is going to win the game. But damn, it might sometimes.
Well, if Caldwell plays well, it's going to be – I think this offense is really responding to his cool demeanor.
Yeah, yes, that is what it's going to be.
And then if he's playing poorly, they'll be like, does this guy even care?
Yeah. I don't even think he goes to practice. I heard he fights people.
I think he just flies into games. You know, Kelson did that his last 2 years at Texas.
Yeah. He lived in College Station. He lived in College Station.
Oh, he lived in Hawaii. He was on Maui.
He was flying from it was Maui.
Yeah, we just flew him in Friday night.
Drew, we're sorry to leak that, dude, but we had to let you know.
Yeah.
I remember when I was talking to Quandre Diggs about it. He lived in Jammer's penthouse downtown. So Quandre gets to live in like a rich above the city, and then he just goes to practice. I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever for a college kid.
That is awesome. Hey,
yeah.
Charlie Williams asked the most important salient question of this entire debacle. Yeah. Is Pavia's mom coming?
She will be there.
Is Theo Vaughn going to be there?
He will be there.
With Pavia's mom?
I don't know. They were on that interview. He was in the house.
In the house, literally.
Yeah, he was in the house. At some point, I'm Pavia. I'm like, hey, this is a really funny joke. Please leave. You're making me incredibly uncomfortable with this. But yeah. And Pavia is like a conflicted human being because he like does some douchebag stuff, and he's like, you know what, Christ wouldn't like that, and it's just hilarious. He's like back and forth with himself. It's like, dude, you are what you are, man.
I love Pavia, and I totally understand why people dislike him, but I love him.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Paul? How do you think this game's going to go? Please project the unprojectable team.
Well, the thing about Texas is our consistency.
True.
And so I think I could pretty firmly say,
yeah,
this game will be a win or a loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, man, who wants it more? Who doesn't commit mistakes? Who is more fundamental in their football?
Mm-hmm.
And also, you got to practice well this week.
The irony is that is Vandy. Everything you said is pretty much that actually.
What's funny is they're very corny, but if you actually buy into corny, it actually will help and improve your life.
Yeah. Wow. Really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
You guys thought he was just a football analyst. He's had some incredible sayings about puddles and fish. You gotta believe and try hard. We've got a lot of really good stuff. We need to get you on that speaker circuit. Those guys are cleaning up. They're just speaking nonsense at these events.
You know what? I feel like you're making fun of me because you're a cynical nihilist.
I am. But I think you're probably right in that. I'm not known for my brand of optimism. That's for sure.
You're the Eeyore of the Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, that was good, but it could have been bad if you did this. But Vandy's going to be tricky. Texas still has a favorite. You don't know, man. The upside is weird. Texas, when they play well, looks awesome. Otherwise, but Paul, we're playing at home, so you've got the huge home advantage too, dude.
Well, hey, I will say the 4 weeks of neutral or road games probably has taken a little bit of a toll. So it'll be good to get a home crowd, and I hope this home crowd doesn't come in sort of arrogant and condescending. Like, this is a big ass game.
Well, Sark too said in the press conference, he was like, we know our fans are going to show up, but he was talking, he's always messaging to his team. And he's like, but we got to give them something to get excited about. Cause there's been a couple of times where this team just comes out flat and it takes the life out of the stadium, especially at home. Well, always at home, cause that's where the fans are. But he was also saying his thing is like, look, man, the fans don't just – football's the only thing where it's like, you can watch a Spielberg movie and it could be awful. And they're like, you need to clap because you're a fan of Spielberg. No matter what, you need to support Spielberg. Football's the one where it's like, well, no, they do have to play well It's not, you don't just clap to clap. And Sark was kind of pointing that out, that it needs to be a cycle of getting each other going.
So it's a morning game, and Drew has some sage advice.
I just saw Sandman that said show up drunk.
This is part of Drew's advice as well.
Yeah.
Stay up all night and just show up fired up.
Is it it's the night after Halloween, right?
Oh, I thought it was a morning game.
No. It's the day after Halloween, right? It's on the 1st.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have that too. So and Sark was like, hey, have fun on Halloween, but also make the game, right? Like don't just stay out till 3 a.m. and not show up. So
probably be some good co-ed skanky outfits too.
Yeah, there could be, Paul.
All right.
And they'll show it right on TV. All right. The guy that brings it up but acts like he's not interested in it. There could be. I don't care. All right. Inside Texas, guys, you can join it for $1 analysis, team news, all of that stuff. And then Paul will be doing a motivational seminar on there as well. If you need any life help, advice, any of that kind of stuff, Paul will get you handled. Chat, thank you guys. You're awesome. We need to beat Vanderbilt. That'd be really, really cool. And this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Paul, let's go film this film study for the people. Everyone have a great day. Bye.